Magus here with LVX777. Life is all about patterns. It's all about vibration. It's all about frequency. It's all about energy. And all these words are vague buzzwords that everyone uses. But the truth of the matter is, when you understand the meaning of those words, it makes sense, right? When we talk about frequency, what we're really talking about is a repeating pattern, right? The way that we gauge and calculate a frequency is we're looking at something that loops and cycles. If we're just going to look at the motion of a rare sine wave, it rises and it falls, right? So in itself, that's how we classify a frequency, because the rise and the fall, that's one cycle and it repeats itself, right? It literally does it over and over. So when I talk about frequency, or when anyone who knows what they're talking about talks about frequency, that's literally what we're saying. So to use it in a context that's like, the frequency and the vibes, while it may be correct, for understanding it should be fleshed out. So what's repeating? What's going through the cycle? Well, that kind of points to the topic of this video, which is that everything is patterns and cycles, right? And the sooner that you understand that truly, the better your life is going to be. And when I say understand it, I mean when you're able to recognize this reality as a cycle of patterns, and you're able to take those patterns and implement them into your life in such a way that benefits you. Or you can analyze your life and take the patterns that no longer serve you out of the equation. It's literally that simple. You don't have to have any special kind of gadgets or tools. You just recognize the patterns and behave appropriately. Greetings to everyone who's in the chat. Who loves orange soda? Peace, my friend. Trinity Phillip, peace, peace, bro. Alora, good morning. First Eye Vision, peace, man, peace. I was just on your Facebook the other day. So check this out. Like I said many times, every morning or afternoon when I wake up, first thing I do is I go outside and I take a walk. And during that walk, I recount things that I'm grateful for. Right? I call it my gratitude walk. So I go out there and I just spend time just focusing on the things that I'm grateful for. And it's a wonderful practice. I love doing it. And usually through it, about 7 to 10 minutes after I'm recounting all the things I'm grateful for, I start receiving thoughts in accordance with whatever I'm studying for the time. And today, as I was walking, I just realized that nothing really means anything, right? Nothing means anything. Everything in reality is about relationships and the definitions you put on those relationships. For example, a broom doesn't mean anything. The neighborhood that I live in doesn't mean anything. That was the example that I thought. So I'm walking through the neighborhood and I'm thinking, somebody in the Middle East who doesn't like America might see this neighborhood and think of it as a symbol of the evils of democracy, right? The symbols of the evils of commercialization and consumerism and the West, right? They might see this neighborhood as an evil thing, right? Somebody who's very, very, very wealthy might see this as an unsafe place, right? A place for the lower middle class, right? And then somebody who also could see this place as a haven, a paradise, right? A wonderful place. It's all those things and it's none of those things, because it literally depends on the observer. And if the observer is a fiction, then so is definition. Nothing means anything. Definition is relative. I need you to understand this point first and foremost. Everything in your life, everything in existence is relative. Nothing means anything. Black doesn't mean anything. This necklace doesn't mean anything. These glasses don't mean anything. The only meaning comes from what the individual puts on it. And that alone signifies the fact that it is false. Because your truth is different from someone else's truth. Therefore, it means it's not truth. Ultimate truth is the one thing that is true across every single dimension, right? And that's what's very difficult to find. And really, that's the purpose behind spirituality, because we're looking for that truth. The truth doesn't exist in the physical plane. It can't, because everything in the physical plane is open for interpretation and subject to change. That's why the scriptures say the material world is evil. Not because it's a demon or a bad person. It's evil because it is untrue. That's why it is an illusion. Okay? Now this ties into what I'm about to talk about here. This ties into these patterns and this frequency and making your life better. This ties into that, because you have to first learn and recognize truly deep in your heart that this shit don't matter. You have a definition for things, but that's not the true definition. It's your definition of reality is how you set up the framework for how you operate in this playground. Okay? This is why it's so important to have some control over how you see the world. Who has defined your world for you? Did you do that? Or did you receive your definitions from someone else? Who told you that Jesus was good? Who told you that Jesus was bad? Who told you that white Jesus was bad? Hmm? Who told you that chemtrails was bad? Who told you what a chemtrail is in the first place? You see what I'm saying? When we take these definitions and these words, they come with the deliverer's definitions. This is why it's so important to do your own research and cross-reference so that you can start collecting pieces and connect the dots for yourself. If you don't do that, you're living in someone else's world. So we talk about the fact that everything is open for interpretation, that nothing has inherent meaning by itself, right? Which means that everything can be defined as you want it to. The situations that happen in your life, good or bad, you're the one who has the responsibility of defining those and how they affect you today, right? So you could have had something happen in the past that was very awful, and you may still be holding on to its effects, but you can right now change the parameters of that situation, change how it affects you. You can do that. That's the power that you have. And you'll notice that if you change how that situation has affected you, you start to change your future behaviors. You can literally turn something that was meant to harm you into something that can be the greatest help that you've ever experienced. People have done this countless of times. I've done it repeatedly. You've probably done it as well. Say, for example, you go to school and you fail a test. One person can sit there and look at that as the worst thing ever. You know, you're stupid, you're a terrible person, you failed, you're not good enough, you're not built to go for the career path that you want. You can go down that train of thought if you want, or you can flip that around and say, you know what, this is an opportunity for me to study some more. Or maybe it was an ego crush, you know, hey, maybe I'm not as wise as I thought in the subject matter. I can use this as an opportunity to improve myself. It all depends on how you define it. So reality is all based on the relationships that you have with what's in your perception and how you arrange it. This is really what we're learning when we study the science of Kabbalah. It's not about some mystical spheres out there in space. We're learning how to redefine relationships to everything. Everything, including God, including your body and how you see yourself and everything. It's just like math. A lot of people complain, and I even had this complaint when I was a kid. Why are they teaching us math? We can't use this in the real world. This is stupid. But we missed the point. The point isn't about the numbers. It's about learning how to solve problems. That's what we learn math for. We're teaching our brain high-level problem solving. And that's the same thing that's going on with Kabbalah and Tantra and all these other spiritual systems. That's why it is a system. It's a system with rules, not rules to keep you from doing something, but rules to keep you in a zone where you can learn about the patterns that exist. Okay? Now, when you find a system that has been tried, tested, and true for countless millennia, you might be on the right track. Okay? It's nothing to do with the people involved with it. It has everything to do with whether or not the science checks out by your testing. Okay? So it doesn't matter what Christians do. Christianity is good for you if you find good in it. Don't worry about what these people are doing. Everybody's fucked up. 90% of the world is a bot in the server. Don't worry about that. You worry about your results on this stuff. So let's continue. When you think about Om in yoga philosophy, they talk about Om, which is this eternal frequency that vibrates in such a way that it creates all of what we experience. It's this eternal sound, and it's a sound that is so subtle it's not even heard with human ears. It's literally a vibration. Now, it's not just any vibration, it is the vibration. It contains every other vibration. I saw a diagram, I wish I saved it, but basically it was showing the different frequencies of alpha, beta, theta, gamma, delta. And it showed that one was so slow that it was a big arch before it repeated. And within that, there were another frequency that was able to go 2 times before it repeated. Then another that was able to go 4 times, and another that was able to go 8 times. But they all fit within the big curve. I hope you can see that image. Well, basically, this is kind of what Om is like. Within that frequency of Om exists every other frequency that can be conceived. Okay? Good or bad. This is a great way to think of how When Samkhya philosophy talks about prakriti, which is the manifest dimension, which is everything that you can conceive with your eyes, ears, nose, mouth, etc. It contains everything, and everything within it can express itself in one of three ways. We call those three things the gunas. A lot of people before have heard of generator, operator, destroyer, God, God. It's the same concept. And in the three different ways that it can operate, it can be very active and passionate, full of movement, full of anxiety. It can be destructive, which is very going in the direction of decay and stagnation and death. Or it can be going in the direction of sattva, which is clear, which is unclouded, unblocked, which is harmonious, right? Which is balanced, which is even, which is free from any type of filter, which is where you strive to be, right? We talk about enlightenment, we talk about advancement and things like that. This is describing the sattvic principle. Doesn't matter what religion you believe in, these are just the facts of life. So, looking at it that way, all these vibrations within the vibration of Om, the only way that you're able to see any of it is depending on the type of glasses that you're wearing. Either your life is going through one of those three channels. You're someone who's very anxious and scattered, so you're going to see life like that. You're going to see those specific frequencies, right? And as I said in the beginning, when I'm talking about frequencies, I'm talking about patterns, because that's what a frequency is. A frequency is when you track that pattern of from when it goes up to when it goes down, and then it repeats. That's one cycle of the frequency. So that could be how you might wake up in the morning, take a piss, drink your coffee, read the newspaper, go to work, take your lunch break, come back home, watch Netflix, and go to sleep. That's your frequency. That's your pattern. That's what you do, right? So just extrapolate that across. The vibration of Om contains every possible frequency at one time. Now, depending on what type of lens that you're seeing, that's how you're gonna. Those are the types of frequencies that you're going to perceive in the world. Check. If you're somebody who is hell bent on warfare and you see reality as a war and a fight, you're literally only going to see all the frequencies of warfare and fight. You're going to pick up war and fighting in every example of life that you get, whether it's through animals, whether it's through love, whether it's in business. You're going to see life as a warrior. That's how you see it. That's not true. It's also not false. Because, like I said before, we put the definitions on reality, or you accept someone else's definitions. You can see life as somebody who's very depressed, right? Everything about life that you're going to see in that point is going to be depressing, defeating. God hates me. God doesn't exist. I'll be better off if I wasn't here. That's how you're going to see life, and you're going to move and act within it. That's not true, but it's also not false. Because we live in this frequency of Om, which means it contains every possibility, every possible option. But which one you're going to experience depends on how you see it. Okay? This is the real truth, the real secret about reframing and building your own reality. It's not so much as if you're creating something from scratch, but you're able to tune your antenna to pick up specific signals and to tune out others. It's literally that simple. But we make it difficult because we expect it to be difficult. What's up, Drew? So with that being said, as I was taking my walk and I was looking at my neighborhood and I was understanding that this could really be whatever anyone wants it to be, whether it's the evils of communism, or a safe haven, or disgusting middle class, whatever. It's all dependent on the person who sees it. So meaning is not inherent. Meaning is placed upon reality by the observer. And that meaning is based on your past experiences. Meanings that you've already come up with and your parents gave you and those who raised you gave you. So for everyone, it's a good idea to take an account for how you see the world. Why do you feel the way that you feel? Why do you believe the things that you believe? Why do you make the decisions and choices? Why are you signed up for what you signed up for? Why are you doing what you're doing? Right? I'm asking you this question because you've got to ask yourself this question if you really want to see reality as it is. You've got to know where your filters came from. You got to know where they came from. Because if they are left unidentified, they're going to continue to affect you subconsciously, which means you're not in control of your behavior. You're only reacting to a filter that you've been given. This applies to everyone. I don't care what you call yourself on the internet or what you believe spiritually. This is how the world works. This is how the human being works. So take the time to give yourself a what do you call it? A mental audit, right? Go through and check and make sure that all your beliefs are yours, or at least understand where they come from. Understand why you hate pickles or why you hate dogs, right? It's important. So we talk about these frequencies. We talk about and as I'm talking to myself out loud, also the birds are chirping, and I had a realization: we're both talking about the same thing. They don't speak human language, and I don't speak birds, but I know that we're speaking the same language. All the cars traveling and the wind blowing and the noise of humans, we're all speaking the same language. We're speaking the same message at the same time because there's only one message to be spoken, right? And I had that sudden realization. And I began to think about resonance. People say, oh, I resonate with that. Truly not knowing what that means, but correct nonetheless. When we talk about resonance, a good way to think of it is, a bunch of instruments in a room, specifically stringed instruments, guitars and violins and a harp or a cello. If all of the instruments are tuned to the same key, if all of them are tuned properly, and they're sitting in this room, if you take one of them and you strum or pluck or vibrate a note, what's going to happen is those other instruments are going to start to vibrate as well on the same harmonic as that same note. You didn't touch those other stringed instruments, but they're still going to display that sound. They're still going to make the same note that the first guitar or harp has made because they resonate with each other, right? Because they're tuned, the string is the same length. Remember, I talked about frequency. It goes up and then comes down. That's one cycle. So frequency is when that process repeats. Now, if the string is too short, it can't complete the cycle, so it doesn't resonate. If the string is at a weird length where you can't make two completions or whatever, it doesn't resonate. But if all those stringed instruments are tuned to the same key, they're going to resonate because the string is built to receive and display that harmonic. So the same thing is in life. Look at your life. If you got fucked up shit going on, you resonate with fucked up shit, right? If you have harmony in your life, you resonate with harmony. If you're out in the streets doing street stuff, you get street results because you resonate with street stuff, right? It's nothing about good or bad. It's all about how you are living, how you perceive your world, and how you behave according to what you perceive. So when we talk about resonance and resonating with something, it's because you were built to receive that specific frequency, because we talked about how Ohm contains all the frequencies, but you can't see them all because you're on the perspective of an individual person, and an individual person can only see reality based on the filter that they have. That filter also determines what you resonate with. Am I making sense here? Am I making sense here? So I'm speaking the same language as these birds. We're all talking about gratitude and our thanks for this beautiful equation called reality that is absolutely perfect. That's absolutely perfect. This world is perfect. This existence is perfect, right? Not one of us are intelligent enough to make a better design. This is an eternally perfect design. So I'm giving appreciation for it, along with the animals, along with the trees, and the cars that man has designed. Because even everything that we create gives praise to the Most High. Right? This is the true thing about worship and understanding divinity. It's not about some dude in the sky. It's about understanding where you are. Right? This place created me and everything in it. And I'm a reflection of it. I resonate with it. Right? See? They're saying the same thing that I'm saying. I'm not on shrooms. This isn't like crazy talk. This is just seeing. This is just seeing it as it is. So I thought about, okay, well, I'm looking at this Vedic information and I'm studying the Samkhya, I'm studying the yoga, I'm studying Kabbalah, etc., and I love it. I'm super passionate about it. Well, guess what? That's because I resonate with it. That's because I'm built, my body, my mind, my soul, my emotions, every aspect of me is built to receive that info and resonate with that info. So not only do I receive it, but I also live it. Everything in my life lines up with it. The results of my life are a display of the fact that I resonate with the information. So that just goes to show, like, there's nobody to blame and there's no enemies. If your life is the way that it is, it's because you resonate with that vibration, with that frequency. Check. Now that's a good thing. That's a beautiful thing, because that means now you know how to start changing it. First, you identify the patterns that you would like to have in your life. Then you begin to implement those patterns. You begin to reduce the things that don't line up and increase the things that do. Because here's what I was thinking afterwards. After I realized that I'm speaking the same language as these animals and the trees and nature. That's why nature loves me, because I'm the same thing and I recognize it. We love each other. We are the same thing, essentially. All of matter is the same thing. The fact that we have these differences, the differences are the illusions, because this nothing has meaning. Meaning is only what people place on it. So we talk about race and culture and all these other things. That fades away after you leave your body. You don't take your race with you. You don't take your culture with you. You don't take none of this with you. It doesn't exist. The differences are placed here by people. Attachment. You feel me? Attachment. That's why we have the distinctions. But what you truly learn to understand is that every human being is the same thing. Not we're all the same, but it's every body is composed of the same material. It's a piece of the earth. It's as if a lump of dirt has come up out of the earth and it's walking around. That's what I mean when I say we're all one. Not some fancy peace rainbow love shit, but the fact that there's a scoop of dirt, that's a scoop of meat that's walking around. That's what a human being is. No culture, no race, no political party, right? No religion, religious beliefs. Those are illusions, definitions put upon life by people. Okay? Now they serve a purpose. They can help you feel good, they can help you get through life, and they can help you do things. Yes, but understand at the same time that's not reality. It's like you're playing a video game. You know it ain't real, but it's fun, right? You're doing it for a reason. Let me know if you understand what I'm saying here. Let me know if you catch my drift. So where was I going with that? Frequency. We're all speaking the same language here. Okay, yeah. So likewise, I talked about the gunas and everything like that. I don't know if you guys have ever done editing on a computer like Photoshop or some kind of type of video picture editing. You can adjust the color in a special way. When you want to adjust the colors, they have this little RGB scale, right? And you can decrease the blue, right, and decrease the green and turn up the red, and it starts turning purple, it starts turning pink, right? You can adjust the colors based on manipulating what's already there. This is how you start to change your life, because Ohm contains all the frequencies, right? And if you want a specific frequency to make itself known, or for you to observe it and apprehend it, you've got to start tweaking different things. You got to start decreasing certain colors and increasing others. You got to decrease the tamas, decrease the rajas to increase the sattva, right? It's like a recipe. All the ingredients are present, right? This is how we're able to communicate with spirits and get in touch with these higher realms, because all of it is present in every single particle of reality, right? The trees over here, the dirt, right? Everything contains every aspect of divinity. Nothing is separate and never has been separate, right? It's all contained everywhere. But the thing is, you're only perceiving the different quantity of one aspect or another. So when I look, I mean, science tells you this. When you look at the color right here, that orange, basically, it's receiving every color from the light spectrum, but it's reflecting orange. That's why I'm seeing orange. So this applies to everything. You're only experiencing what's reflected. If you want to change it, start changing how you perceive it. Start changing how you structure your life inside first. Then it reflects on the outside. This is easy. This ain't hard. This ain't difficult. You don't have to have anything special. You just have to understand what reality is and what reality is not. Okay, everything manifest is not reality. You're experiencing it, but it isn't reality. Just like you play a video game, you're not in the game, right? When I put on my Oculus and I'm shooting them up, I was never there, right? I stacked up some bots, I got some points, I spent some cash, but I was never there. Likewise, science tells you that thought and consciousness does not originate in this meat lump called a brain. It receives. It receives, right? Your science will tell you that it doesn't originate in the brain. It doesn't originate in matter. Nothing in matter. Nothing in matter is originated. It's just here. It receives. Okay? So that's the message that I wanted to share today. Right? This was a good ass gratitude walk. Because it's clear as day for me. It's clear as day. Like this shit is easy, y'all. It's easy. And I want you to understand it. I want you to get it. You don't have to read 200 books to get it. You just have to sit down and take a look at your life. Take a look at what's going on in here. Nothing means anything. You put the meaning on it. Your meaning is different from my meaning. So we literally can't argue about no fucking words. Right? You could say melanin, I could say melanin, and we can mean two totally different things. We don't agree on that. Right? So it doesn't matter what people say. It doesn't matter what buzzwords we use, because more than likely we don't have the same definition. So things don't mean anything. What matters is the relationship between the things. That's what matters. Life is a study of the relationships between things. And that's what we learn when we study Kabbalah. That's what we learn when we study math. That's what the science is. It's not about any specific deities, because guess what? No matter what pantheon you follow, none of that shit's real. We're talking about how one perceives frequencies. So when we talk about Gibera and Mars, one culture might call it a different warfare god. One might call it a different god. One might call it a different god. None of them are correct. And guess what? None of them are incorrect either. Because everyone's talking about how they perceive a specific frequency, which doesn't even exist on the physical plane. So we only can describe it with physical terms, which is us alluding to it, but we can't ever apprehend it completely. This is why you're not going to see any spirits. This is why you're not going to see God. This is why you can't prove the existence of God, because he doesn't exist in the manifest dimension. You get me? If you want to see God, you have to see all of it at once, at the same time. You have to come out of your individual perspective, because the individual perspective and the beliefs and the ego attached to it, that's what's blocking the vision. That's what's blocking the true reception, because you believe that you are different and you are separate from your environment and from your internal experience. It's all one. The sooner you get that, the better you'll be able to make decisions that are going to go in your favor. Okay? So when we talk about doing magic and doing these spells and doing all this other stuff, what we're actually doing is a scientific method of reducing certain aspects to increase other aspects, or increasing certain aspects to decrease others, because it's all present at the same time. All right? You're not separate from any of this, and none of this is separate from you. I need you to understand this. Otherwise, I'm wasting my breath. Matter of fact, I'm not wasting my breath, because I understand it, and I'm living it. And you can too. Matter of fact, you have been. Okay, well look, rant over. I'm done fussing at you. I'm gonna go back upstairs. I didn't catch any of the comments because I've just been going off. But I'm gonna scroll up and I'm gonna read some. I appreciate you guys being here. And check this out. Look, if you vibe with this info, if you resonate with this info, hit the like button. All right, I appreciate that. I do. But you know what else? It helps this YouTube machine promote my videos so that people can actually see them. So if you care, if this has touched you, if it has impacted you, and you feel so inclined, please hit the like button, because I ain't too proud to ask for it. Mo B, peace, peace. Zay Zooming, peace, bro. Isaac McCoy, good to see you. Zero, peace, peace. Zero asks, are these Rudrakashas you're wearing? I think mine is fake. Yes, it is a Rudrakash. But you know what? It doesn't matter if it's fake or not. What matters is the meaning you assign to it. You feel me? This is how we're able to make anything work, right? While you might need to spend $16 on a candle from Bed Bath & Beyond, I'm going to go to the dollar store and get a big pack of them little cheap-ass candles for $1, and I'm still going to have the result that I want. It doesn't matter about the thing. What matters is the meaning you place upon it. I have some stuff that are not real, but it's real enough to me, all right? Most of the crystal, well, I got some of those big-ass diamonds. You ever seen those before, those big-ass diamonds? They're like paperweights. They're not real diamonds, but they look fancy. So I have them. To me, when I look at them, yeah, that's a big ass diamond, and it's mine. That's how I see it. Other people may not. So if your Rujakashas are fake, you know, you can maybe find some that are not fake, or you can just rock with what you got. Because it's not about the Rujakasha, it's about how you using it. Are you using them things to do your mantras? Hmm? King Monster, peace. Marwa Fakir, peace. Zero says, but it's not Om, it's Om. Okay, cool. Yeah, Micah, peace, bro. Mount Uhuru Mimia says it's all relative, which is his point. Thank you. Somebody's listening. I love it. I love it. I love it. This is great. Sanko for sound. Peace, bro. And this is another thing, like, don't get caught up on these online arguments. It's pointless. Let people have their reality, because that's what I'm saying. Like, everything is just what it is. You ultimately you put the meaning on it. Now there are some things. Now here's the thing. There are some things when, if they are done in a specific way, will yield a specific result. So I'm not saying do what you want. Oh, this is just a free for all. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is, Dick, don't get hung up and butt hurt on something just because you believe it a certain way and somebody told you it was a certain way. Try it out and test it. You know what I say when I meditate? Right? Do what thou wilt, ultimately. But like I said, at the same time, there are certain things that can be done a certain way that get you certain results. But don't get caught up and tripped up on some dumb shit. It's not worth it. There's so many other things in this life to spend your energy on. Keep it moving. Low-key Jinx says, Sup, Trav. I just bought Franz Bart Initiation into Hermetics and Dion's Mystical Kabbalah. What's your thoughts? My thoughts are those are excellent books. Read them. Read them all the way. What would you do for a Klondike bar? It was just 11:11. And that's the thing with numbers also. And check this out. A lot of this was inspired by Kenneth Grant. I was reading Outside the Circles of Time. You know, the one with the spider on the cover. Oh, man. I see why those books are so expensive, because they can really cause you to not see things as they are. Or seeing things as they are means that you'll start to see things differently than how you've already seen them. But anyways, it just really goes in on the concept of how, well, you'll see the book. Frequency, vibration. Will Trent, peace, bro. Moon Goddess 777, peace, peace. Straight Panther, what's up, bro? Greetings, greetings. Rue I am, peace. Nick Harlow, greetings. Moon Goddess 777 says, yes, makes sense, and I noticed the same about gratitude to the universe and how the creatures communicate. That's what I'm saying. Hell yeah. Kel R, peace. Netta's intuitive insights. Greetings, greetings. Adam Genesis, what's up? Greetings from infinity. Facts, facts, facts. Foresight 10, peace, peace. Glocky says, same Jordan, different colors. Absolutely. And see, we're getting to context versus content. The context is going to be the same and similar across the board, but the content may be different. Right? For anybody who's just now joining the video, I highly encourage you to watch it from the beginning, because I already said everything. At this point, I'm just reading the comments and showing some love to the people who are here showing me some love. Mr. Grim Minutes, peace. Grim Menace, that's it. Zero says, I tried to change my mindset, but I can't. I'm still stuck. So that's also a mindset. Like, nothing is true. Everything is permitted. That's what they say in chaos magic, and that's what they mean. Nothing is true. Everything is permitted. All these frequencies exist at the same time, but you are the one that chooses which one you zero into and hone into, right? This is what the concept of Akasha represents. When you got the 5 elements, earth, water, fire, air, and Akasha. Akasha, the 5th element, is the container of all the elements. They all emanate from them. When we talk about subtlety versus grossness, the most gross, the most dense is earth, and the most subtle is Akasha. because it hasn't manifested as anything. It's pure potential. So if you're able to raise your mind from being stuck and rigid and very earthy, if you can raise it up at least to the water element, you can start to flow with things a little bit better. When you raise your mind to the fire element, we're talking astral, now you can start to manifest things. Because when there's fire, there's vision, there's heat, there's movement. So if you're able to raise your consciousness to the level of the fire element, now you can start making shit happen. Obviously, even more so when you raise it to the air element, because the air element can be in many places at once. Distance becomes less of a factor. Then finally, when you're able to raise your consciousness to the level of Akasha, right? Now we're talking about all things are possible. You just pick and choose which one you want. So if you feel like you're stuck, you know, you're very much vibrating at the lowest earth element. And it would be very helpful for you to start to identify why and recognize that you literally have the power to change that. You just choose to. You just choose to. What do you think you have to do? You know? What do you think you have to do? You think someone has to come and physically? It's not a physical thing. It's all up in here. It's all up in here. So you flip that switch. And if you're having, here's what's happening. When you go to flip that switch, you feel that something is blocking you. So guess what? Go follow that block and see where it's coming from. Identify. And you won't be able to see it clearly, but you'll be able to get a sense for it. Start chipping away at it. It's reality is like a marble block, right? See, and the artist, he can see the sculpture inside the block before it's chipped away. The artist can see it already. The artist can see it already. So the artist goes to the block and it starts to remove the parts that aren't in his vision until finally he's able to perfect it and polish and smooth it out, and it looks like a beautiful statue. Nobody else saw it but the artist. That's the kind of vision you have to have when you're working with this stuff. Om is the entire block. But you got to see within that block what it is that you want to get out of it. And you start removing the things that are blocking it from appearing. That's what you're doing here. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Hall of Cannons, greetings. Hall of Cannons says, Joshua Bach posits a hypothesis that we can't possibly ever understand objective reality due to the limitations of our senses, which you could say there's a human meta frequency. Absolutely. And you know who said that before him? Vedic culture and Samkhya, which from what I've seen, everything comes out of Vedic culture and Samkhya. But they said the same thing. We're literally limited in what we can see because of the five senses, right? I mean, think about it. We can only perceive 5 types of vibration. We can only perceive 5, do y'all hear me? Out of infinite reality, and science tells us that there's more vibrations. There's more visual vibrations on the infrared and the ultraviolet scale. There's sounds that the human ear can't pick up. There's sensations that we can't feel, right? There's smells that we can't smell. There are vibrations that exist, but we can only pick up 5 types of them. So of course, ultimate reality is obstructed, right? Which means that you should never sit down and feel like you know it all, because you can't know it all. Like, you're not built to know it all. But there are workarounds. There are workarounds. This is what this magic is all about. Greetings, Dawson Carlisle. This is good stuff. This is good stuff. Timon, Timon, peace, peace. All right, so it looks like I'm getting to the end of the comments, and I'll probably be wrapping it up soon. Karma Serene, peace. Sunya Tara 000 says, LIFE, life, lessons in full experience. I like that. I like that. This is good, man. This is a good day. For real, for real. Foresight 10 says it's a good ass gratitude walk for us too. Yeah, I guess technically because I'm walking and I'm still feeling gratitude. And I'm giving it back. See, that's another thing. Life is an equation, right? It's an equation. What that means is there's always balance at all times, right? There's always balance at all times. And you have to recognize that if you want to be able to stay sane here. Even when things don't seem like they're working out for you, you just don't see the other half of that balance. So you can't sit here and judge and says, oh, everything's over, it's ruined, oh my God. You can't say that because you didn't see the end of the equation yet. It might hurt, but get over it. We're not done. You didn't see the other half of it. This is really what it's about when I say have faith, right? It's not about just blind believing that the mysterious sky god is going to fix it for you. It's understanding that all of life happens in a process. Where there's an up, there's a down. And when you learn how to ride that wave, you start to see that no down is permanent and no up is permanent either. And that's the beautiful thing. You wouldn't want it that way. You wouldn't want it that way. Beautiful stuff. Dark flower, peace. Sunshine chick, good to see you. Okay, all right, all right. I want to get through all the comments before I close it up. Mount Uhuru Mimiya says, Pete Soda, the medium doesn't matter, right? The Pete Soda aspect. Look at how long it took for people to understand that concept, right? Pablo X69 says, unicorn ponies are my favorite money manifestation totems. Look, man, I use those things for everything. There's frequencies that I can't catch, but they sure can, right? There's frequencies that I can't perceive, but they sure can. Gotta keep your mind open to how you use this stuff. Smart dude. Chris Ward, number 12, peace. Cole Eats World, peace, peace. Abdul Shabazz, Allah says, melanin does not go away, it's our soul. Well, my question is, what kind of soul are you talking about that it's physical? How can something physical be your soul? That don't even make sense, right? We receive a lot of this information from these people who spoke about it and don't even question it. There's consciousness and there's matter. Those are two opposite poles of the spectrum. Consciousness is not matter, and matter is not consciousness. Guess where melanin falls? Melanin falls in the matter aspect, which means it's a part of everything else. Everything that has a central nervous system has melanin. I got that from Arius Bookman, the spirit shrink. Check his channel out. But yeah, everything has melanin. So melanin is not cultural, and culture doesn't matter because that's also an illusion. That's a human ego attachment. And if you're still learning that lesson, then by all means, continue on your path. But yo, melanin is not any more special than chlorophyll or bird poop. Eat more plants. Peace, peace. Eat more plants says, I'm obsessed. The mantras really have altered my outlook. And wow, believe in the shift. Yes, yes. Samaj Beat, peace. I like that. Glocky says, you a real nigga, Trav. Love, man. Which channel you want to watch? MTV, BET, VH1, or Cartoon Network? Right, right. Logan Lanning says, do you believe in and work with elementals? I do. We all do. Everyone is always working with all these different types of spirits. We just don't classify them as such, even Christians. Mystical Order of Israel says, Matthew 6:22, your eye is like a lamp that provides light for your body. When your eye is healthy, your whole body is filled with light. Yes, yes. I love it. I love it. Inhuman education. Peace. And thank you very much. Good stuff. Good stuff. Smooth should die. Peace. Nuru says, illumination is what light does. No negotiation necessary. The candle doesn't ask the dark why. Light knows the still center of the flame is dark. Exactly. 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 It is a beautiful day. Charles C. says, please remember you're not stuck. If you were, you would not be listening now. Exactly. Exactly. It's all about what's going on in here. Overcity says, melanin is extremely special, brother. Hey, I'm not going to tell you it ain't. even though I just did. Doesn't matter. That's the whole point of this whole conversation. Like, the conversation that I just had doesn't change when we get to a certain subject, right? I understand that melanin is very sensitive with a lot of people still. Cool. But you know what? It's still a definition that we placed on a thing, just like we place definitions on everything. Maybe you didn't watch the whole video, right? And that I get it. But essentially, when you look at something, any concept or physical thing, it is the individual that places a value on it. Nothing has inherent value. Nothing physical has inherent value, right? There is no good or bad thing. There are just things. Barely. There ain't even really things. But we perceive stuff, right? And we don't simply perceive it, we give it a definition and we put a value judgment on it. This is the process of illusion and attachment, right? There are people who believe that technology is evil. There's people who believe that America is evil. There are people that believe America is great again, right? Who's telling the truth? It's all subjective to the individual. That's the point of the message that I'm saying today. Everything in your life is subjective. The definitions that you place on it. Nothing is true. Everything is permitted, right? Because just like there's a group of people who worship melanin as this great thing, there's another group of people who believe the opposite. Now, who's telling the truth? If you ask either of them, they're going to tell you their subjective experience. So life isn't about who's right and who's wrong. That's the endless fight that'll never end, which again points and indicates to the fact that it's an illusion. What matters is what's working for you. Does this whole melanin a special thing, is that working for you? If it is, then by all means keep doing it. But understand, nothing in matter is any more significant than anything else in matter. All right? Nothing in matter is any more significant than anything else in matter, because ultimately we're talking about consciousness versus matter. That was the original discussion of spirituality in the beginning of recorded history, not who has melanin and who doesn't. Like I said, if you're still learning that, then continue down that path. But if you're dedicated to truth, then truth will reveal itself to you to the degree that you're able to see it. Beautiful stuff. DB says, come on, Trav. I felt special for a minute. Like I said, if it works for you, work it, man. Work it. Yeah, if it makes you feel special, keep feeling special. Because that's good. Because now you're generating positive feelings. But just understand where it's coming from. Understand how it works. I do things that I know ain't real, but it makes me feel good. What's important is the end result. Abdul Shabazz Allah says it comes from an essence which manifests to the spirit, to the physical. Absolutely. As does everything else. Because what happens is that energy and matter replicates the patterns that it perceives in consciousness. Or I should say, energy and matter begins to shape and form and move in accordance with consciousness. That's why we're talking about Om. Om represents every possible vibration. Now, matter is not alive. Matter just reflects what it sees in the unmanifest dimension. But at the same time, what is manifest is not consciousness. It's just a reflection of consciousness. So, is there something that melanin could represent that is special? Absolutely. But you're not hearing that I said that, because you're only hearing that I said melanin is not any more important than anything else. So you get personally offended. But if you believe what you just said, that melanin is an effect of something not physical, then you understand what I'm saying. Something that was not physical is not physical. Otherwise, we couldn't say it's not physical. Good stuff, good stuff. Yang, peace, peace. Wow, there's like 91 people here, and like I'm done with the speech part. I love it. Will Trent says, just seen a bash video on the metaverse. Had to keep scrolling. At some point, you get sick of all the fear and the people keeping you in it. Exactly. Exactly, man. Got to get out of the fear stuff. Got to. Got to. What are you scared of? Okay, so say it is true. Then that means you're either just not going to do it, or you're going to do it and that thing's going to happen to you. Then what? What are you still scared of? People are afraid of what they don't understand. So in order to eliminate that, let's understand it. That way you won't be scared. Unless, of course, you enjoy being afraid, which a lot of people do. That's why the horror industry is so big. Do you? Okay. I like that. Indigibiz says, maybe melanin wasn't a discussion because the ancients were melanated. I can dig it. Society ejects, peace. Seraphim, thank you for the Bitcoin. I appreciate you. Nuru says, all cognates aspects of light. Melanin is simply a superconducting aspect of cerebral spinal fluid, your brain's sun energy processing system. More melanin means broader spectrum and faster light processing. Yeah, yeah. So, if the discussion were what makes a better piece of matter, then we could have this talk. But I'm not talking about matter. So, like, when people talk about the melanin stuff, cool, but that's not ever what I'm talking about. Everything physical is in the same category. Everything physical is in the same category. It is subject to the three gunas. Everything manifested is subject to nature and laws. What I'm talking about is reaching the aspect of reality that is beyond the physical. And it starts by coming into alignment with certain patterns, right? You talk about raising your frequency. Well, in order to do that, you have to release certain heavy frequencies, right? You got to release certain things in order to rise. And if we're still talking about fear-based stuff, things that indicate division and separation, you're not rising. You're staying split. And it's not my word. Don't take my word for it. Demonstrate. Look at what's demonstrated, right? Where are you? Are you becoming more clear? Are your filters beginning to dissolve? Are you able to see reality as it is? Or you get more and more tangled up in this low vibration? And when I say vibration and frequency, what I'm talking about is things that have a beginning, middle, and an end, and they repeat. That's what I mean by frequency and vibration. Not like feel-good frequency vibration, but just everything that rises and falls. That's frequency. That's vibration. So what types of rising and falling is going on in your mind and your emotions and your body? Do you like it? Or do you not like it? And if you don't like it, are you changing it? Big, 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 big. Peace, peace. Okay, so this was good. I highly enjoyed it. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for spending time with me. I appreciate this, right? I'm a reflection of you and some things that you've got going on in your head. That's why you're watching my channel. That's why you're watching my videos. That's why you stay for this whole 54 minutes, because there's something in me that you see in yourself and you like it. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. So I give thanks and gratitude to that part of yourself that is also a reflection of me. But then again, I don't believe that I exist. I'm only a collection of patterns that are manifesting in accordance with something that is unmanifest. So are you. So are we all. So just all this to say, just to kind of keep your head on straight, keep your perspective right. Because, from time to time, people do ask me, Trav, what am I supposed to do with all this magic shit? What's the yoga supposed to do for me, right? How can the Kabbalah pay my bills? How can I get it? Well, the thing is, we're studying the nature of reality. We're studying how these patterns operate, how these laws operate. This is about principles, right? Most people do not have an understanding of principles and laws and how nature works. So they just do, they don't even do whatever. They're forced and consigned to do with what their memories and their traumas have dictated. So if they grow up with certain trauma in their upbringing, they're just going to echo that trauma throughout every decision they make. This is how most people live. So most people constantly manifest negativity. They constantly manifest suffering because of attachment and because of echoing certain patterns that have caused them suffering. So what is this magic stuff and the yoga stuff and all stuff? How does this help you? Well, you begin to first of all recognize those patterns and you begin to reduce them and hopefully delete them. And once you delete them, you can start seeing life for what it is. Once you start seeing life for what it is, now you can choose to make better decisions that bring you a better life. That's how it helps you. You'll know how to do this. You don't just guess at it and try some shit, hope that it sticks. You live better because you know better and you do better. This is how this helps you. So I hope that you have a great day. I hope that you have a great day. Because I'm out. This is TK Trav, aka Travis Magus, here with LVX777. Study and practice. I love you guys. Peace.